Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage. I'm tidying up following my repairs over here. So yeah, I'm very pleased with how that's turned out. Quite a clean job in the end. It's all in the prep. And this isn't paint though. This, if you didn't see the last video, this is Built Hamber Hydrox 80. So this is a rust converter and protectorant, very, very powerful rust inhibitor. And it sets as an undercoat. And I've taken that all the way around over onto the sill, which we've discussed many times. I've dressed it up some more, try and make the edges of this a little less obvious, but it's still, you know, it's ugly. It's very ugly. And we do have this issue here. However, I have decided that for now, if I set to work on this, that's going to cost me another couple of weeks just because of the way I'm working and actual job and all the rest of it. So I need to settle this corner into MOTable. Once I'm at MOTable, I can move off and do other jobs and then get an MOT and then come back and do other jobs. Otherwise, I don't get the car mobile. And if it's mobile, I also have options of subbing out a few tasks as well, which may have to happen. So mission one, I'm just going to put some bolts. I'll use the old nasty ones. I have got brand new ones in these holes. And then I'm going to dress up all of this with a coat of stone chip, sort of a soft, slightly textured paint finish of this order. That will stop it from getting damaged by bits and bobs of stones and road muck, all the rest of it. And then when that's dried, I'll put a little bit of gloss black paint on underneath, and depending on how generous I'm feeling, I might get a rattle can of the right colour and just make this look a little less obvious, or it's going to get blacked. But it's more protection for now on this bit, because I say it's an absolutely solid, fine repair. It just doesn't look pretty and it didn't go far enough. The camera that you're watching this on is now officially jiggered, technical expression. The battery in it, which I obviously can replace, has probably halved its life, but I use it so much. I'm certainly not disappointed. This is a DJI Osmo Action, the original. I've had it years. I use it very regularly. In fact, you guys can find out how regularly by adding up my videos, because I think it's got to be 650, getting on for 700 videos on the channel, and there's only the first dozen or so that was shot on a GoPro or my phone. The rest was shot on this, and I've loved it. I think it's a great machine and I would recommend them to anybody. But yeah, the battery life has gone right down. The case is well knocked around now. And following on from the welding and the grinding, and to be fair, I wasn't that prissy about my camera, never have been. The lens protector is shot, so that needs replacing. The front screen has got embedded metal and has split, which means it's no longer water or dust proof. And the connection where I put the external transmitter for my microphones, which I use, what have I got? Rode micro mics, has been very loose and rattly for a long time, and I quite often lose sound. So the combination of all those things means I've ordered a new camera and some new mics. This is where I'm going to spray onto this area and the outer sill. Stone chip shield by Hammerite. Protects sills and lower body panels against stone chip damage. And the camera that I'm getting, you won't be surprised to hear, is another DJI. GoPros are great cameras as well if you want a rugged action camera, which is the way I like to do my filming. Also, the wide-angle lenses that these things have tend to suit all this sort of close-up stuff quite well. But my experience with the GoPros has generally been a little more expensive, lots of overheating, and plenty of glitches. And I'm sure they're brilliant and it's just me, but that's been my experience. And the overheating particularly has lost me lots of bits and pieces, which is why I switched. Still got it, still use it occasionally for work actually. But I use that camera in its waterproof housing to mount inside machines and have coolant and swarf and bullets thrown at them. And they're great for that. And they run for 5 minutes and you're away. But I know if I leave that camera running, it'll probably pack up after, I don't know, half an hour. Not because it's run out of battery, but because it's overheated. So I really don't get on with them. So I'm going DJI Osmo Action 5, which is the latest and potentially the greatest. But I would say for almost anybody else, if you want one, I'd probably go for the DJI Action 4, which is the predecessor. It's £100 cheaper in most places. And yeah, there's all sorts of finesse and extras and benefits to the 5, but they're subtle. Except for me, the Osmo 5 can receive the signal from 2 separate Bluetooth microphones and record it on board. And that's useful for me, just for some of the stuff that I do, to have 2 separate radio mics or Bluetooth mics. The 4 can only take the input from 1 at a time. So that's the only reason I'm doing it. And I'm going for some DJI mic minis as well, because it loses the plug-in on the side of the camera, but I've got with the Rode, and just makes the whole thing a bit more robust. And I'm putting it in a alloy cage, the camera, so I've got one of those as well. Doesn't really matter, but I prefer not to get paint on the fuel filter. And I'm gonna cover up the brake pipe, just because if it's covered in loads and loads of goop, the MOT folk tend to think the worst of it. As a very temporary fix, I'm just going to put a bit of, mix up some JB Weld, which is a tough filler. Think of a mix between body filler and araldite, and it'll be far off the effects, consistencies, etc. Good stuff. And I'm just going to mix up some to push into the damaged bit on the edge of the wing, where the sill touches the wheel arch. Again, this is not to give any final finish, I'm not pretending it's good practice. It just means I can lose the sharp edge, the raggedy edge, and support it until I get round to it so it doesn't get any worse. It's already had the corrosion inhibitor on it. I've knocked off all of the really bad stuff. So yeah, it really is just reinforcement, like putting a bit of scaffolding around something. and also stop me from snagging myself on it every few minutes. And back here, again, the JB weld I put on in 2 or 3 stages. I'll just run a little bit of emery cloth over this to knock off the peaks. And then this area is ready for a touch of colour. Colour has been ordered. If you want to order paint for your Jag, just go there, paint LFA, which in this case is pearlescent titanium. I seem to specialise in early cars with short run colours, so not a common one. And that'll be here very soon, I hope, and we can squirt on a little bit of that. For this sort of work, I'm just getting rattle cans and just went online. I think I went to Amazon, I'm not sure. Typed in XK8 LFA paint and 2 or 3 options came up, and I went for the one with the shortest lead time. I've just got a rubber sanding block and an old sanding disc. Reuse the ones. It's just clogged with sand around, with paint around the edges, but there's some good grit left in the middle. And again, it's just a quick dress up. So I'm really just knocking the peaks off the JB weld. To make it look a little tidier. There we are. So just smoothed over a little. It's not filled, it's not meant to be flat. I just didn't want any spiky bits. So just give that a little bit of dusting with stone chip again. And that corner, as I say, just needs a bit of colour on it. We're on the final leg here. Give you guys a little further away so I can get my head in. Hello. So stone chip doesn't need any finishing. You know, it's not porous. Cosmetically, it's irrelevant in this situation. The silt is a bit different. So that is finished. But I like to go a little bit crazy cosmetically. And I do believe that this is sort of a satin finish. A smooth as possible finish will shed the most dirt, crap, all the rest of it, that caused this to rot in the first place. I've already coated the suspension bracket. Let me just grab it. With some nice gloss paint, which is going to go on there. So I'm going to give that a lick of this one, Nitromore's Rust Control, sorry, which is just gloss black quality paint, and finish this off just to my satisfaction, if I'm honest. I've got to say, I'm quite pleased with my welding up there. It's not neat, you know, professional, but, and obviously it's been ground, but, you know, it's not disgusting. It's not the worst thing I've ever done. The whole thing looks like it's hanging together rather well. Some things just need cleaning up to look doable. That job looked very challenging. And then as soon as I started to use wire brushes and linish it away, it didn't feel so bad. Because there is solid metal in amongst it. It wasn't absolute basket case. That looks great. I'm going to give that 5 minutes to set, and I'll give it another dusting, and that'll be that done.